Hello, Reds from around the world. Welcome to Off United. I'm your host, Joe O'Neill, and we are here to discuss everything that is Manchester United on, of course, Wednesday's edition of Wall of Reds. We've already got the wonderful Jacob in the comments. Thanks so much for joining us, Jacob. All right, peeps, watching Sevilla versus Dortmund. See how do you say his name? Not Jacob.
Which one? Koundé?
Yeah, Koundé. Thank you.
Koundé. Yeah.
I know one of us in particular might be a bit slow tonight, but I'm surprised that all of us we're looking at it going, huh? There's two names. Like anyone could have taken a shot at just saying one of the names. But thank you, Jacob. Let us know how the results are going because we'll be talking Man United. We'll of course be looking forward to Sevilla. Stu got me saying Sevilla because Sociedad. We'll be discussing Sociedad, our history going against Spanish teams, but also what we expect from the possibility of the new kids being thrown into the limelight in this game. So the guys we'll be looking at are, of course, Amad Diallo and, of course, Shoretire. Yeah. And you want to know how I learned this in my head? Because it doesn't spell like that. You know, whoever's watching it, put it into the comments how it's spelled. It's spelled like Shoretire or something like that. But like how I have it in my head was, who was the person who handballed to allow Ireland not to go to the 2010 World Cup? Shoretire. Yeah, that's how I remember his name. Shoretire. Yeah. And he is the official enemy of the All for United channel, along with Declan Rice and along with Jamie as well. Okay, thank you, Jamie, for the vote of confidence here. I see James took up this role of the
anti. You call him Wall of Reds.
Oh yes, that's it.
Okay, I've got to go. I just sort of couldn't ask. All right, bye.
Mark's onto his missus. Nah, babe. I'm just doing it and working here. No. Don't worry about it, babe. No, I'm not talking about football with the lads again. No.
She's only in the other room. But
but Jamie, thanks so much for being wonderful and taking James's role of being pro Mark, anti Joe in the comments tonight. Look at James' little grin, enjoying life, enjoying the poison that he's spreading. But wherever you guys are watching, please come over to YouTube, Off United /YouTube/ Off United. Get in the comments, get your views out there and what you expect for tomorrow night and what you hope for tomorrow night. And also help us get the 20 likes tonight. And once we get the 20 likes, I will be asking a question, and the first 5 people to answer that question will be put into a draw to win some wonderful Football Town apparel, merchandise, whatever it's called. So please get in the comments, get your views in, and get liking this video, please. So straight away, we will be discussing the youth. We will show Thierry and Amad Diallo. What are you, Mark, I'll go to you first. Are you hoping to see them feature at some point tomorrow? And if so, starting or coming off the bench, or in what are you hoping for? And who are you hoping to see more so?
I mean, a few weeks ago, I would have said play the kids, and then if we got through those rounds, play the more experienced players in the later rounds. But now, I'm not saying that we aren't going to get top 4. I'm pretty sure we will, but I think we're running more and more of a risk of losing our momentum a little bit. So I think that we do need to take it seriously. I'm definitely not going to be running for president, that's for sure.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, thanks, mate. So yeah, I would like to see the kids. I think we've spoken about this a few times a few weeks ago. I'd like to, the fact that Amad was on the bench against Liverpool would probably suggest that he will be in or around the first 11, I should imagine. But I do think we need to take it seriously. Obviously, we've still got the FA Cup and this competition, so it would be nice to go as far as feasibly possible, or win it would be best. So, but yeah, I would like to see the Amad especially. And I think he probably will be in the starting 11. I can imagine he's going to be playing a relatively inexperienced side tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think so as well. Hammer, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Stoneface. It's very hard to get an emotion out of him. How are you feeling for tomorrow? Who are you looking forward to seeing more, and how much do you think we will see of the youth guys coming through, especially Shoretire and Amad Diallo?
Yeah, well, in terms of the youth guys, I'll just say I don't think they're going to start, and I think if they do feature,
it'll be if we have control of the game, right? I don't think they're gonna go and just try to say like, oh, we need a goal to win or whatever situation we end up being in, and put them in that type of situation. And then also, I just think, I think that it's about getting a trophy at this point for me. I think Ole needs it, and I think also the squad needs to do something to show that they can complete this thing, right? Because one of the things that everybody's been talking about is semifinals, and we can't get past the semifinals. So I think whether it's this or, like Mark said, the FA Cup, you need something to get a trophy this season, and it's going to help Ole with his chances of people having more faith in him, and it's also going to help to see if the squad has the mentality to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm focusing too much on you. James, we're going to go to you now. You're having the time of your life in the comments. Really, putting the campaign manager in for Mark's next run as All for United president, I guess what you're going for. But in the meantime, we're looking towards tomorrow. We're looking towards, Ollie has already said that Diallo and Shoretire are in the squad and could be in line to make debuts. Is this the kind of game that we need them to come in? Are we taking this too lightly? Like, Ollie does need a trophy, and personally, I think anyway, the Europa League is the best chance for us to win a trophy this season.
Yeah, I don't want to see him start tomorrow by any means. I think you're just asking way too much of them. There's too much pressure on their head in that sense. But I think, if anything, they're more likely to start in the next round because we've got one of the hardest possible draws. The likelihood is we'll get a much easier draw in the next round. So I think if you're going to think about starting either one of them, it's got to be later on. Just make sure you get through this difficult test. But if by some miracle we can get a couple of goals ahead, either tomorrow or next week, then you throw him on as a substitute, give him a nice, comfortable introduction to the team, and see how they go from there. But I think it'd be unnecessary to start them. I think you're asking way too much of them, and we'll see sort of a Twanzebe type effect where you throw them in at the deep end, and if they don't perform well, then the fan base could turn on them and everything. So I just think it's needless, really.
Yeah, and it's 1. I do agree with you, and it's 1-0 to Sevilla at the moment, which means we're definitely getting Sevilla in the next round when we get through. We're gonna keep going, and guys, like I said, wherever you're watching, come over to YouTube/Off United. Like the video, help us get to 20 likes. Once we get the 20 likes, I will be asking a question. The first 5 people to answer that question correctly will be put into a draw for some Football Town merchandise. Jeff, how are you feeling about tomorrow? How much do you want to see the kids coming on and hopefully make an impact?
Well, I hope first Ole rotates. Yeah, we put on a strong side, but not the regular one. And I think Cavani's out traveling. Van de Beek's out traveling. They might come on, but hopefully we get, as mentioned, hopefully we get a good handle of the game, be in control, like up 1-0 or 2, or even 2-1, and then they come in just to get a taste of European football. But then again, I'm not really a big fan of pushing it for this trophy. Rather focus on maybe the FA Cup or top 2. Make this an opportunity for the kids to play more, and maybe get some of the guys rest. It's been a fast season for most of the players. They've been playing too many games in a short period of time. So hopefully we can see them by like 70th minute, I guess, and then have the rest ready for the Premier League.
Yeah, I hope so as well. And thanks, Jacob, for making me showing how much of a gobshite I am. I'm sorry for always presuming Sevilla are in the Europa League. Like they do sort of own the competition. So I am very happy that they're not there. But I know by our luck, somehow we still will end up playing them. Stuart, we're going to come to you. How excited are you for tomorrow? Are you hoping to, obviously you previewed a wonderful preview. It's actually a brilliant show you did with Temi and Gary and Hama as well. Actually, sorry, Hama, you were there too. Sorry. You're the rock here. You're the stone that's holding it together, and I keep forgetting that. But the 4 of you guys were on previewing. It's a wonderful preview, so make sure to go back and check it out. But Stuart, what are you looking forward for tomorrow? Are you expecting to see the kids? Do you want to see the kids come on? Or you think we're playing down this tournament a little bit?
I think Ollie's probably got 2 teams in mind, ready to go, really. And actually, tonight's match will have a bearing, I think, on what he picks. Because if Everton somehow get a result against City and we beat City, we're right back in the league title race. So I think he'll look at tonight's match and may even pick his side on the result tonight. With regards to seeing the youngsters, consensus, it's way too early to start them and throw them in at the deep end. They're obviously exceptionally talented. And I would like to see him get a 10 or 15 minute run out, but I don't think Ole will have the chance tomorrow. We're at a pivotal point in our season, really, because we're in 3 competitions. And Mark made a point about top 4. We could quite easily slip out the top 4 if results don't go our way and we don't pick up the points that we need. In which case, then the Europa League becomes important for Champions League football. But if we kind of got ourselves on a run, if we play well tomorrow night, and we get ourselves a run and we get a result against Newcastle, we start to pick up momentum again. So it's quite a pivotal point, really. And of course, we've got the FA Cup. So I wouldn't. No, I definitely wouldn't start them. And if the game starts to go our way, potentially bring them on for 5 to 10. But definitely wouldn't start them.
That's fair. Sorry, I'm just sending the tweet. So I was going to focus on you for one more second. Just do something lovely. Do something lovely
while you're focusing on me. Then I will say hello to my young nephews, George and William, which I believe are tuning in.
That's good for them.
And I know they think their uncle's a clown anyway, so they'll have a lot of fun.
Well, I can. What are their names?
George and William.
George and William. Wait, are they not the princes?
Yes. Yeah. Blame my brother for that. Blame my brother.
Yeah. That's good shout. Yeah, great names. And you're dead right about your uncle. So so keep torturing him. But see, guys, from what I'm hearing so far, there seems to be a lot of sort of apathy, even negativity towards the Europa League. And look, the fact is, I've felt this for a while. This is our level, and I don't actually think that. I don't want to say, like, obviously the Europa League is a massive drop-off from the Champions League. But if we use this to our advantage, it gives our squad players game times. It lets them build their confidence. It also allows us to get the second biggest trophy? Well, outside the Champions League and the Premier League, you'd imagine that the Europa League is the next biggest trophy. League and then Champions League and then that. And it's important to get these wins in and build up the trophy cabinet, especially under Ollie. He needs this confidence. So, would you sacrifice getting into a top 4 battle if it meant getting to the final of the Europa League? Because we can't say definitely win it, but if it meant us getting to a final, would you take that? Maybe we are pushing to top 4 to the last day of the season. I'm going to go to you first, Mark, on that, and you're muted. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, we would be taking a huge risk if we put all eggs into either basket, really. I think we need to be fighting on all fronts. I think we need to be going for, the title still at the moment, and then at least second or third. I think if we finish any less than that, considering the position we're in now, it would be a bit of a failure. But at the same time, as I mentioned, I think a few others did too, we need to get that trophy. We need to get some sort of silverware. So if it came to maybe the last 4 or 5 games and we were sitting in 5th or 4th and also in the Europa League final, I would say yes. But I think it's fine margins, isn't it? I think it's really dependent on how we are at the time, where we're sitting. But I think we should be going for everything. I don't think we should. We've got a big enough squad and the means to battle on all those fronts. So I would say don't put your eggs in one basket and go for it all.
That's fair. And this in the same sort of context, Jamie's asking is the Newcastle game a bigger game though? Is a Premier League game against Newcastle, which could winning that could solidify us in second place and kind of make us hold on to that, because we're on a bit of we haven't lost since Sheffield's right, but we're on a bit of a dopey run at the moment. So would you say winning the Newcastle game, Hama, is more important than winning this game, or what way would you see it?
Well, in terms of that, I'm not too sure which one I would deem more important. I think it's important that we keep up with what we're trying to do in the league. I was going to just go off of the end of what Mark said in terms of going for everything. I think we have the talent, right? I know you said Europa League might be more our level, but I think we have a certain level of talent in the squad, and we're just not playing to our talent, whether it's consistency, whether it's mentality, whatever other things people want to talk about. So I think either way, whichever game you deem important, we need to go into it trying to win all of it because we have the talent to do it and we have a squad to do it. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Right on, brother man. James, I'm going to go to you now. Same thing. Where would you rank the importance of getting, well, even just to, how much would you give just to get to a cup final, like a European Cup final? Because Ollie, we're needing this. And guys, get your thoughts in the comment. Like, how important is it for Ollie to get to a cup final? And please keep liking the video wherever you're watching. Come over and check us out on YouTube.
If it's between a cup final in the Europa League and a cup final in the FA Cup, I'd say you go all out for the Europa League just because it loosens the pressure on you getting top four. But I think you can't sacrifice top four for either of those. Like, it'd be very nice. It'd do the squad a world of good in actually being able to get past the semi-final for once. I think it'd do Ole the world of good more than anything. But yeah, like the last final we were in was the FA Cup final, wasn't it? That we lost to Chelsea. So it's not like we're any better in finals than we were in semi-finals. So you've got to be optimistic, and I think a final is always nice. But if we're focused too hard on that and it comes at detriment to the fact that we won't get top four, then I don't really think it's worth it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I guess I'm still a bit more of a, I don't want to say optimist, but just like for me, trophies are the be all and end all. And like maybe aside from the League Cup, I think every one of them has a prestige, and every one of them is like everyone should fight tooth and nail to win and to get to a final and to just for that experience. Jeff, for yourself, coming to you, how important to you is this game coming up tomorrow, and how important to you is the Europa League itself?
For me, I think the Premier League, if we focus on that, it's going to be the safer route in terms of Champions League qualification for next year. As James mentioned, we haven't been really good at finals and semifinals, so that's one more thing to think about. If we go all in either Europa League or FA Cup, there's a higher chance that we that we won't, we might not even get into the Champions League if we drop off the top four. So for me, I'd still like to see a rotated squad, just because we want to focus on the Premier League and FA Cup instead, maybe. But then again, knowing Ollie, he might not put in a rotated squad. Maybe it's Rashford, Marshall starting again with Greenwood, and then maybe it lasts the whole game. I saw in one of the comments, Ollie hasn't been brave enough to do that Alex Ferguson style of playing the kids in these types of games. So let's see. But I hope they still rotate and just focus on the Premier League.
So you're saying the main focus for you still is the Premier League?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Stu, we're coming to you as the senior member of the panel, the daddy of the house. I believe is a statement I just made. Are you still a bit like a European night? It's not the same. Obviously, it's a Thursday night. We don't live for Thursday night European football. But like, would you feel we need this and do you want this, or is it just top four is kind of the most important thing? The top four trophy, which we hoped we never would be.
Look, it's time for the group of players to decide what they want. Have they got the ambition to go for all four? When you pull on the shirt of Manchester United Football Club, you go out to win every single game. You go out to win every trophy. I don't agree with top four. I don't like it. Champions League football to me should be for the champions, not to finish top four and get into Champions League. It doesn't do it for me. But you have to win trophies. When you're at Manchester United, you've got to win trophies. You're at the pinnacle of your career, your club career when you join our club. and you've got to start showing it. So it's time for the guys to tuck in their skirts and get on with it. And I'm hoping to see, really, I'm hoping Cannavale actually, I give him a bit of a rocket after the Albion match, because we could pick holes in it for forever. It was a terrible performance. And so it's now time for this group of players to come together and pull together and say, right, where do we want to be? How ambitious are we as a group? And so I'm hoping with tomorrow, whatever team Ollie picks, they go out there and they give it their all, because that's what they should be doing. I've played in plenty of teams where, one or two players have let us down, and you tell them, you know it. I said on the previous show, I'm a terrible winner and a terrible loser, because a strong footballer, a strong mental player is a terrible winner and a terrible loser, because winning just isn't good enough, sometimes. So that's what I'm hoping to see. As regard to, do I like the Europa League? Not particularly. I don't think it's a great league competition at all. Don't think the quality is any good, but it is where we are. It's our own fault. We're in the Europa League. We made various errors in the Champions League group stages where we had ample opportunity to win it, and we didn't get over the line. So we've got ourselves to blame, and I think now it's time for them, as I said before, tuck in their skirts and get on with it.
Absolutely. And as Stuart said, he's not great when he wins, he's not great when he loses, but he takes draws like a champion. We're going to go a little bit down memory lane, guys, and then put in your moments in here. And other Stuart, giving love for Stuart. It's a Stuart love fest going on here. I believe this is some sort of masturbation. Spot on, Stu. Champions League should be for champions and cup winners at a stretch. I do agree with that. I think it gets diluted, and I understand. I just think the less teams make everything more competitive and makes it more special. I think, but it's always, look at the World Cup. The World Cup is going to eventually have, the moon in it in probably about 50 years' time. It's getting ridiculous. It should be for elite only. I feel I kind of be on Stuart's side. But like I said, we're going to go down memory lane. We kind of have a really not a great history against Spanish sides. I think the last victory we've had in Spain was against Celta Vigo when we went on to win the Europa League. But aside from that, it's been losses to Sevilla, and it hasn't been great. So why is it, Mark, for you that we seem to struggle against these sides?
I don't think you can put anything on it. You sort of hit the nail on the head at all. I mean, it is what it is. Fergie used to struggle against Spanish sides as well. Perhaps it's their style of football that the Premier League isn't so equipped to deal with. Who knows? I think it's just a stat that's a little bit ambiguous, really. And, I don't think it's absolutely not going to have any bearing on tomorrow night. We might still lose. But that doesn't mean it's because it's a Spanish club. If we were looking at Italian teams, we've got a far better run against those. So it's just, but that means again nothing at all. So it's I've read a comment earlier which was spot on, to be honest. Sociedad are probably one of the hardest teams in there. So I think I'm going to backtrack a little bit, say that we probably should play a more experienced team, maybe sort of some youngsters and some experience, but yeah, no, as far as Spanish teams goes, doesn't mean a thing. And tomorrow it's a clean slate. It's a bit like, a rivalry. You can talk about the most wins or whatever, but it goes out the window when you're playing your rivals. And again, it will be a completely new slate tomorrow night. Hopefully we can go against that grain and beat them tomorrow, and then we won't have to have this discussion again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamie, my thoughts on Declan. I'm going to take a wild guess which Declan to talk about. If you can put the correct word, how I feel about him, into the comment section, I will put you in the draw to win some Football Town apparel. So please do that, and if you win, you're going in the draw. Thanks, Jamie. Hammock, coming to you, my friend. What? So we discussed there that Mark doesn't feel that our history against Spanish sides has an issue. but the psychological side of the game would make you think that anything that has a stat that's been thrown around so much will affect the players. Do you agree with Mark that it won't have a bearing, or do you think it will? And like I said, guys, wherever you're watching, come over to YouTube, Off United, give the video a like, help us get to 20 likes, and help us put you in a draw to win some Football Town apparel. How am I going to you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So just, I don't know, in terms of my memory on it, so we lost, the last time we lost to Sevilla, was there this same group of guys, or was it like there?
Yeah, effectively.
Well, okay, in that sense, if you want to say on a mental side of it, it could be because, they're going to look at maybe that type of stat and see that they were also the last ones to fail at doing it. But I kind of going to go off what Stu said in his last thing, is that it's a mentality thing at this point, right? And I think it's separate from the rest of it, because I think this team is a better version of what they've been recently. So now it's up to them to say, can we take the next step and progress and show that even if when we play poorly or when we don't do things that we need to do or whatever it is, that we can come and realize, okay, this is something that's going to be important to our season overall, or can we take it by the horns and do what we got to do? So I think it's not going to play as much tomorrow just because of where they are right now as a team.
Okay, that's fair. That's more than fair. James, coming to you now on the... Oh, who's this? It was reported that he was injured. Is this... Who's this?
Oyarzabal.
Is that Januzaj or who?
Mikel. Right?
Who?
It was Mikel Oyarzabal.
Are you speaking English? What's happening?
Oyarzabal. How do you say its name? Oyarzabal.
I don't know what's happening here. It sounds like you're swallowing a sweet. And it's getting stuck down your throat as it's going. Is that what you're talking about? Marzipan. I think that's who Jeff's saying. Is it Marzipan you're talking about?
No.
That guy. Sorry. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oyarzabal. Yeah. There you go.
And James, you promised to come on. You'd see the kids tomorrow, so make sure to take a note of that. Okay. Thanks, John. Keep your comments coming in for James. Stuart. He means Declan Kidley. Oh, sorry. Okay. Declan Kidley, the first man to win in Ireland a Grand Slam in the Six Nations. He's a lovely man. Lovely man. He looks a lot like my Uncle Pat. And everyone's having fun here. He sounds like Paul Merson there. Okay, give him a bit more credit. But who was I on? I was coming on to you now, James, was I? Anyway? Yeah, I was. So what are your thoughts on what we're discussing there with our kind of not good record with Spanish sides? Do you think it'll play a factor? Do you think it's because we do tend to... The semi-final thing will obviously be an issue until we get by it. Until Ollie gets a victory over a Spanish side, it could be on top of them. Do you think it will affect them, or do you think it's just media making hype?
I hope it doesn't affect him. It shouldn't affect him. I think the positive will be that we're not actually playing in Spain. We're playing in Italy, aren't we? So, that's a bit of a mental block gone. But yeah, I think the fact that they're at a neutral ground as well could play into our hands a little bit. I think it's not. There's no such thing as home advantage really anymore, but obviously we don't know how it affects the teams overseas. So it'll be interesting in that sense that we'll be the only side with a real home tie. But yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be a mental block. Obviously, the Spanish teams in Europe are always going to be good. So, Sociedad shouldn't be taken lightly, and I think they'll give us a tough game. And I think if they do beat us, it'll be because they were the better team. I don't think there'll be anything in the players' minds or anything. They have the ability to beat us. So, I wouldn't blame the fact that we can't beat Spanish teams on the fact that if we don't win tomorrow. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's fair. And you said it very nice. It was really lovely the way you put the words together, and we're all very proud of you. Okay, the thing I am confused about, right? I don't understand this whatsoever. And this is going off topic, but still on topic. Why is there two legs in this tournament if none of them are allowed played at their home ground? Why aren't they just playing one leg in the Champions League, one leg in the Europa League, and stop people traveling needlessly? I guess, Jeff, I'm coming to you with this. Do you have any sense of why it is here? Is the away leg at Old Trafford? Well, wouldn't the home leg be at Old Trafford? Is that, I don't know, Jamie, if that's humor. Who knows?
I don't know if it was humor, but it was funny.
It was funny. We laughed anyway, Jamie. So please claim it as humor. But Jeff, what are your thoughts on this neutral ground on two legs? What are your thoughts? It makes no sense. But give us your views on it anyway.
Well, exactly. In a normal situation, I mean, it's all about the money. They want to give both teams some gate receipt, But at this point in time, like in the pandemic, it's kind of ridiculous. So they should have gone with last year's format, wherein they just played one-offs, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Because if like Sociedad is going to be a disadvantage, right, with this home leg being played in Italy. So, it's to our advantage, but it's just ridiculous to play two legs for this stage. In terms of the game itself, just want to point out that I guess Januzaj will get a goal or assist or whatnot. You got former players trying to, although they say they got nothing to prove, but at the back of their minds, they probably want to. So I'm gonna think it's gonna make an impact somehow tomorrow. So.
Oh, so you're fearing the return of Januzaj. And also, guys, we'll discuss Januzaj once we get past Stu. But you can comment on it if you want Stu as well. But don't. I'd prefer if you didn't. But, do what you want. Do what you want, okay? What was I going to say? Yes. So, of course, Januzaj is going to have an impact tomorrow. But before we touch on his history with United, and please, guys, get your comments in. What your history, what you thought of Januzaj's time at United and Sunderland, if you want to be awkward. And don't forget, wherever you're watching, please come over to Off United on YouTube. Give a like on this video, help it with 20 likes. And once you get the 20 likes, I'll be putting last in the question. And the first 5 people answer correctly, we'll be putting a draw for Football Town apparel. So, Stuart, coming to you with Will and Georgie watching afar away. What was I asking the rest of you? I can't remember.
I think you're asking about whether our record against Spanish teams.
Yes, that's it. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, no, in a nutshell, it won't. Because any professional footballer that worries about stuff like that, just stay in the changing room, mate. We don't want you on the pitch. You want players on there that don't give a damn about records. Just get on with it and win that game of football. You forget what happened against Albion, you move on to the next game. And so coming so soon after the Albion match, although it's been like that pretty much weekend and midweek all season, it's ideal for the lads to lay a marker. I think we played Sociedad, I don't know, back in 2013, I think in the Champions League group stages, if my memory serves me right. I think we drew with them away and we beat them at home 1-0, I think. But the thing to bear in mind about the record as a whole is we were playing Champions League football for the bulk of that. And most of the Spanish teams, such as Real Madrid and Barcelona, when we come against them, they had the so-called Galacticos, and they were pretty much ruling Europe at the time. So for us, forget that. Let's just get out there tomorrow night, do a number on them, and come home.
Yep, that's absolutely fair. And thanks so much for everyone who's joining us in the comments. Like I said, please come over to YouTube and Off United. Give us a like in this video, help us get to 20 likes, and get in the comments and be wonderful as you are being right now. So we're discussing our former, funny enough, I forgot he was our former number 11 for about 10 minutes. Arden Januzaj, I remember when he hit the scene and England were trying to stop him getting capped by Belgium because he was eligible for, I think, 3 or 4 countries, and England was one of them in 3 years' time because of whatever the system was for youth players, and how that all just fell away. So we'll spend the next couple of minutes just discussing his history at United and basically what our thoughts on him, because we have to say was a bit of a disappointment. He was better than Makeda for someone who scored an important goal in their debut, but didn't really set the world on fire. Mark, for yourself, what are your thoughts on Mr. Januzaj?
Yeah, it was unfortunate, wasn't it? He did burst onto the scene. He was the next exciting thing, and everyone was raving about him. I think, personally, I feel a lot of that was to do with the fact that David Moyes was so bloody reliant on him. He played him almost every game. When you're trying to bring in a youngster through the academy or whatever, a bit like Amad, he's been absolutely phenomenal, and yet he's not seen anything yet. And Ollie's not relied on him every week because he's making an impression on the wing, and we need a right winger, don't we, really? So I think that was part of the problem, really. I think that he'll enjoy his moment tomorrow. No doubt he'll be starting and he'll enjoy that moment against us, but I don't think it's really going to play a part. I don't think that it's going to give him a huge amount of encouragement necessarily, or a point to prove or anything like that. He'll just enjoy his moment, and I'm sure Ollie will have a chat with him, and that'll be that. But yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate that he wasn't able to do more. But as I said, I think it's due to the fact that he was being played week in, week out. It was probably a lot of pressure. It was probably, throwing him in the deep end, and all that sort of spotlight on him. So I'm not surprised. These things happen. As you said, Makeda, he came onto the scene, scored a phenomenal goal against Villa, and then scored the following game again. And what happened? I don't know. So I'm just pleased that he's been able to pick up his form and is playing quite well out there. So it'd be good to see him back tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I hope the words Ollie has in his ear is before the game, and he goes, "If you score against us, I will kill you." If he says that, then Ollie's my manager for life. What are comments you're getting? Januzaj wasn't good enough, to be fair. He was overhyped. Scored against us in the World Cup, though. I don't know who us is. That's not me, and that's not Jeff, and that's not Hammer, and I don't know about the rest of them. I don't know what their allegiance is like. Well, they're actually all Man United, as we discussed the other night. Man United over England, absolutely. But Hammer, coming to you, what are your thoughts? Mark makes some great points. Too much pressure on them. Do you have any theories on why it didn't really work out, or was he just not good enough?
Well, I mean, it might be like a mix of things. I understand the too much pressure part, because I think that happens to people who were a lot better than him when they come to United. But I think he himself had talked about it. Was it with Van Gaal or whoever who he was with?
Yeah, LVG, yeah.
Yeah, and he just didn't. They didn't mesh, and he was getting. Anyways, he had issues with the manager, so I think it was just. Maybe he also wasn't good enough, and maybe it just didn't work out in terms of being able to handle what was going on at United and maybe do what the manager wanted to do, even though he might not want to do it. But like Mark said, I guess he's gotten some form in a team that he feels comfortable in. And the way I was thinking about it, to be honest, I was looking at him, and who commented? There's somebody else on that team, like David Silva. What I was thinking about is that there's always somebody on a team that we should have some success against, who shows up and does something. And I think one of them two could actually be one of those players that we've got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to James, I don't know, you were probably minus 8 years old when Januzaj made his debut for United all the way back in 2013 or 2014. But from what your grandfather and great-grandfather told you about the great number 11, what are your thoughts on him and why it didn't work out for Manchester United?
I actually remember watching him when I was in year 8. That's how far back it goes. But I had a close friend who was a Spurs fan, and at the time I was trying to convince him that Januzaj would be better than Bale, and I think that sort of bit me in the arse a little bit.
There's still time.
Yeah, I mean, if he suddenly starts sneakily taking performance-enhancing drugs, then maybe. But
yeah,
he won us that game at Sunderland, and then that was really it, wasn't it? Yeah, he was a victim of Van Gaal, but it'd be interesting to see whether he was ever going to go on.
Let me just say one thing: he's better than Gareth Bale now.
Yes.
Oh yeah. But I mean,
well, I am.
But yeah, I think he's obviously a victim of Van Gaal, and he could have maybe gone on to be something good. But we're not the best at bringing up youngsters that aren't English anyway, are we? Really? I mean, you just got to look at other players. I had a name in my head then, and it's disappeared. Well, Depay, for example. Just look at him, and I think. It'd be interesting to see how he did, but I wouldn't have had much faith. I think he did the best thing for his career, and he's seeing that now. So he's obviously a dangerous player, and he's someone we need to look out for. And given the current circumstances, I'd probably take him back as well. But he's not the level we want to be at. But yeah, fair play to him. He's made a good career for himself, and take me out of to him for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wearing a hat, but I think we'll get the sentiment of it.
It's a wig.
Yeah, well, we know that. I'm glad you finally admit it. Who we're getting? They also have Nacho Manuel, who played well for us against. Well, he was all right. He scored against us once. I remember in the FA Cup when Di Maria was sent off for pushing the ref, the absolute idiot. What's this? Personally, Zero. There are people at the club who were responsible for that specifically. Oh, I don't know. Oh, sorry. He talked about how many players did LVG sell. Yeah, but he didn't sell that. Like he did, but he told players that they were gone. They were surplus to requirement. They weren't in his plans. Like like Zaha, who was speaking about how it like really negatively affected his mental health and stuff like that. How Van Gaal dealt with him. I personally think we can probably have a whole episode dedicated to Van Gaal's time. I thought that was horrendous. Like, I think that was a worse managerial appointment than David Moyes. Personally,
no chance.
I can go into detail why, because I have a feeling why I think David Moyes was appointed. Because no matter what, it was setting up for the next person to have an easier run on it. But like with Van Gaal, it was set up to have we should never have a manager that is only there as a stopgap until we get someone else. It should be a manager is there and he could be there for 20 years. Well, look, I understand, get a 6-year-old but they could be there for 10 years. You know what I mean? There should be no end sight when a manager is brought in, because that means that manager is looking like, remember when he bought Martial, what everyone think about Martial, he said, I'm not buying him for myself, I'm buying him for the next manager. When you buy a manager who knows he's not going to be there for a long time, they won't invest properly. So like getting Van Gaal in, it must have just been because there was no one else available, because getting Van Gaal in was, I think, one of the worst things Ed Woodward has done, personally. Won in the FA Cup, thanks so much. But like in the same year, that Leicester won the league? I was only thinking about that. There was no excuse for Leicester win the league. Like I know I'm like personally, I'm happy it happened. Do you know what I mean? It's great for football that Leicester won the league and they've become such a great club now from it. But like anytime that a team like that wins the league, it's because other teams let it happen. If we had a better manager that year, there's every reason possible that we would have at least been fighting for that title instead of struggling to get top four. And that all comes down to Van Gaal for me. And he got rid of good players, spent on other players because that's the players he wanted, and he was there far too long for a manager of his talent that had been wasted many years beforehand. I'm mainly looking at two people here. Hannah, I'm trying to read you, but you're just a stone there beside me, so I can't actually fully get what you're trying to get off you. But Stuart is agreeing with me, and Mark is like, nope. So we'll actually touch on this. Jeff, would you agree with me on my assessment of Van Gaal?
Well, I agree at some level, because during the off season I've been watching some replays from Van Gaal's time, and man, that was some boring football. They just passed backward, sideward. It wasn't the football that we see today. It got slow. It got, we don't score that much. So even if we had a classic game, it was 2-1, 1-0. So I agree to at some degree that he might be the worst manager. First Alex Ferguson, but Mourinho and Van Gaal were, I guess they were the same type of old school boss that they don't just they just talk straight to you. If you're not part of their plans, if they don't like you, then they're gonna get that point across one way or another. Van Gaal was more direct. Mourinho would talk to the press. Yeah. So both of them had could possibly be the worst years for us in the Premier League. So I agree at some point to you with that. So yeah. Although we didn't do too bad, we got some great players, but then again, it's his man management that really got him in his tactics. It's terrible. So
shite.
Yeah,
utter shite. And sorry, I'll get to you in a second because I want to get Stuart because he agrees with me. But Brendan has a comment here on. It's gone. Get it back up there. Is that why Moyes got an extremely long contract? I think it was 6-year contract, so he could be set up for the next manager. The reason I think it was set up that way because story-wise, narrative, I think everything fits into a story. If he didn't get top four, which he didn't get, there was a far less payout that he was going to get than if he was sacked after getting top four. And if he got top four the first season, it would have been a high price to get rid of him the next season. So I think they looked at it and went, We bring Moyes in. If he does well, if he gets us top 4, which is all we were looking for that season, then he is going, like, we can build on this, and he's a story, Fergie's choice and all like that, and it helps the fans get around him. But if he doesn't succeed, which he didn't, it all fell apart, they look at it and go, see how impossible it is to replace Fergie. So I think story-wise, to sell to the media, I think it makes more sense to have Moyes come in. And if he fails or if he succeeds, there's kind of positives they can stream from it. With Van Gaal, and don't forget, like that year when Mourinho was top dog, Mourinho was available, you know, so it should have got Mourinho instead of Moyes, but then there would have been issues there if he came in and was successful straight away, that it might have tarnished Fergie's legacy. That's my thoughts on it. Mark still not disagreeing with my super hot takes. I'm going to come to Mark after I go to Stuart on this comment. We've forgotten about the Sociedad game at all, but we're going to have we will have a dedicated Wall of Reds to the Van Gaal era and the Moyes era and all like that eventually, but we'll just touch on it briefly now. So we'll go to Stuart on this comments, and keep your comments coming in. These are great, guys. Help us get to 20 likes. I think we're about 4 or 5 off, so please get liking the video if you haven't already. So Stuart, your thoughts on why I'm right?
Well, what I would say actually about post-Fergie managers is at that particular time, and still today, we don't have any football people in at the top. And so the Moyes era, and I've got to be honest with you, I didn't think he got a fair crack of the whip, although to be fair, he was dire, and it was obviously too big for him. And if he perhaps hadn't changed all of the backroom staff and he kept some kind of continuity, things might have turned out a bit different for him. But anyway, we'll never know. And actually, the Van Gaal appointment to me was, I just think they were looking around for, as you quite rightly say, a guy who's there to steady the ship for whoever, whether it was Mourinho or whether it doesn't really matter, whoever was going to come after Van Gaal. And he was going to lay the foundations. And I think somebody on the comments said it'd probably take a good 5 years for a manager of Van Gaal's quality. And to be fair to the guy, his resume was pretty good, club and country. It does take a lot of time. Oh, Phil Foden.
I know. Jamie just gave it the bad news.
Yeah. And then, and it obviously, we had that brilliant World Cup, didn't he, so to speak. But ultimately, it was never going to happen because Van Gaal needed a good 5 years to put his philosophy in and lay the foundations and the groundwork ready for the new manager. But we all know what happened. Yeah. So, but going on to Januzaj, I just want to touch on him. Back in that kind of era, and it's littered, by the way, history is littered with quality young footballers who have 2 or 3 good games, and then they start to believe their own press. And Januzaj was victim of that. He was obviously victim of the management style and the playing style, and he was overplayed. But he was a victim of his own success in many ways because he started to believe that he was an untouchable. And you can't do that in any club. You certainly can't do it at Man United. And at that particular time, we obviously lacked certain seniority in terms of players. And I think Jamie touched on Depay. Depay in his first season turns up in a Rolls Royce. Tell you what,
yeah.
Some of the senior players in the past, sorry, mate, go away, get yourself in a little Mini or something like that. You could earn your stripes. And unfortunately, Januzaj was one of those. But fair play to the kid. He went away and he slowly but surely he's rebuilt his career. And I think he's having an average season. I don't think he'll be that dangerous tomorrow night, to be brutally honest. I think they're a lot sharper down the left side than the right. He might go in with a point to prove, but I wouldn't worry about him. I wouldn't pay any special attention to him. He's just a Real Sociedad player. Yep,
that's fair. And Miaba, sorry, I'm just letting Mark really stew on what he wants to say before I get to say it. This has been the worst take in all for United history. All for United history. Liverpool took 30 years to get the right manager. Could be the same for us. It will not be 30 years. It will not be 30 years. It'll be 30 minutes. It'll be me. So before we go to Mark, I'm going to let him stew a little bit longer. I'm going to throw out at the end of every Wall of Reds, I'm going to throw out a fantasy question of sorts to who's ever on the panel with us and allow them to answer it in whatever way they see fit. But my question for tonight is, and they've never heard us until now, so there's very little prep time. So I'll let Mark spew on his love for Louis van Gaal as the guys think over this. And get in the comments as well what your thoughts are. If you could change one result in our club's history, what would that result be? Okay. If you could change one result, could be from any of the previous years, it could be from 1908, it could be from anything in the middle. Let us know what that is and give us your thoughts. But Mark, we'll give you enough time now to share your thoughts on your love affair with Louis van Gaal.
I'm glad you.
Sorry, I had to mute you. Sorry.
Why did you do that? I'm glad you mentioned what it was I was talking about. You made me stew for so long, I forgot what it was that I had to speak about. So, right, for anybody that says David Moyes' era was better than Louis van Gaal is absolutely incorrect, and the mind boggles why you'd say that. Now, whilst it was a strange appointment, it was because there was no one else available. And you're right, we should have bought, in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, we should have bought in Mourinho instead of David Moyes.
But Mark, I will say, sorry, I wasn't saying about the actual era. I'm just talking about the appointment itself.
Okay, well, the appointment was a strange one, and whilst the football was awful and it was boring, it was the first time since, well, I know it was only a few years at that point, but it was the first time where United really had any direction. He had a real philosophy and a structure, and he needed, as pointed out earlier by Brendan, great comment, is he needed not 5 years, but he probably needed 3 or 4, just like Ollie's getting now. Yeah, he was trying to implement the philosophy, and oh, good. I want to know. Can you? Who scored, Jamie, if you don't mind? I've got fantasy players in the team. He whilst the football was awful, he was the first one to really sort of bring in the right approach, the right direction. You know, had some sort of plan. Mourinho didn't. David Moyes, as Stu rightly said, took the words out of my mouth. He was asked and advised by Fergie to keep the exact same coaches and backroom staff, and he didn't, and that's what let him down as well. But yeah, he was the first one to really have something. You know, it's Ollie a few years later, essentially.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to start with Stuart. Okay. Big Stu, because Mark just spoke, so I'm not going to give him. Let Mark stew for a bit, but as we hear from Stu. If you could, and we got a great shout immediately from Fred, the 2008 FA Cup semi-final versus Portsmouth. That is a brilliant shout, Fred. In fairness to you, that is. I think there's very obvious reasons why that is a good shout, but we'll touch on that in a minute, I suppose. Stuart, for you, what result would you want to change?
Oh, it's dead easy. My first match, we got beat by Wolves 2-1. And, I was hooked anyway, even though we lost, but I'd have loved it. So I'd change it so we beat Wolves 4-0. Because Wolves at the time, we have to bear in mind, were really, really good solid team right across the board. And we were okay. You know, we were quite steady, but we were just well beaten on the day. I know 2-1 doesn't sound it, but we were well beaten. So my first match against Wolves. Just before you go, I thought Mark's argument, by the way, was well reasoned and well put together, and I can see his viewpoint there. So
yeah, but he's still wrong. So as long as we agree with that,
thank you, Stu. You can come back next week.
I get it's a 6th round, but like it's 6th round. Yeah, it's quarterfinal, same thing. Did you
quarterfinals? Yeah.
Yeah, or did he say the semi-final? I can't remember. But yeah, we still would have gotten to that final though, because Portsmouth had Cardiff at the final. I think Sunderland in the semi. I can't remember, or someone mad because it was mad results that year anyway. But yeah, we'll go to Jeff now. If you could change one result in the club's history, who would you change? What would you change?
Maybe it would be the 2009 Champions League final where we lost to Barcelona. Yeah, I mean, it was a strong team. It was Ronaldo's last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it could have been a great send off for him. And, I'm a terrible loser too. So, and watching games here from where I am and staying up that late or waking up this early to watch those kinds of games and just to lose kind of messes up the head.
Yeah.
So that's why when we get games like West Brom and Sheffield, it just kind of messes your week up. So because of the time. So yeah, I'd go with the 2009 Champions League final.
Yeah, that's a great shout. I'm just putting that on Twitter. James, we'll go to you. What would you change? What result would you want to change in our club's history?
It's not even a result it's not even a match we took part in, but I'd go with the City 3 QPR 2 result because
you took mine, James.
I've only got like 4 years of being alive to actually choose from, so you better think of your own. But I think if we win that, then Fergie gets another three-peat, and it's another accolade to his title. And 27 sounds a little bit better than 26 titles that he won or whatever it was. I know he was in charge for 27 years, wasn't it? Well, 14 Premier Leagues is better than 13, isn't it, that he won? So
yeah,
it just would have held off the noisy neighbours for a little bit more as well. Maybe made them a little bit less attractive to the players that they went on to sign that season, and maybe would have stunted their growth a little bit. You can't really halt the inevitable, can you? So it would have just been nice for Fergie. So
yeah, that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. Hammer, you've been our rock all night. You're not. What one for you are you going to pick? Have you thought of one?
Look, I don't know why I was blanking on something like this, but I didn't think of one that would have been different from those. I mean, I don't understand how I didn't think of any of those.
Well, we understand why you couldn't think of any.
You guys understand. There's other reasons besides that. I just have a shit memory overall. No, but actually, I kind of like the one that James said. All those were good, but I like that. That shit would have been another level and another thing to put on Sir Alex's already ridiculous mantle.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely fair. Mark, for yourself, one was taken. Are you going to take a different
one? James stole mine. So what I'm going to say was the same day, but United needed to win 9-0. So if I could change that result from the 1-0 against Sunderland, I'd change it to 9, and then City's result wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good shout as well, Mark. I think for myself, I was trying to think back. I'm thinking of that Brendan's, was it Brendan who put in that comment? Or Fred, was it the 6th round? Yeah, Fred. I was thinking about that. That's a good one. I'm also thinking, Stuart, was it West Ham in '96 that we drew nil, that we drew nil all with, that we had to win to beat Blackburn, to pit Blackburn to the title, which would have meant we won 3 in a row. I'm also looking at the Champions League semi-final against Dortmund when we drew 1-1, which Andy Cole, I actually listened to him interview on that, and he was like, we would have won that final. No, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'll read out more comments. What results are you talking about? And please, guys, we're, I think, 4 likes away. And I think everyone in this video is yet to actually like the video. So if they wouldn't mind doing that right now, that'd be very nice of you. James, Mark. Well, no, Mark's a good boy. Mark would have done it. Hammer, I won't ask you to move. Stuart, you were in the comments. It's okay.
I've done it,
yeah. Just give the video a like. I'll ask the question. I suppose it has to be a final. It has to be a final. Or at least final day. No, I'm going to go with the losing to Portsmouth, the fucking penalty shootout. Not the penalty, the losing with Portsmouth getting the penalty, because that would have meant another treble. Because we would have beaten Cardiff in the final. Fuck off, James. We would have beaten Cardiff in the final. We obviously beat Chelsea in the Champions League final, but also maybe after just playing the FA Cup, it mightn't take the legs off us. But I forgot Marcus' power as well. So yeah, guys, we didn't hit. Did we hit the likes? The amount of likes needed? We're 4 off. So unfortunately, you didn't put in the love, so you're not getting a question. Only joking. I'll ask a question. The first 5 people to get this correct will be put into a draw to win Football Town apparel. And my question is, we're discussing the 2009 Champions League final. Who did we? James, you were on a roll today. In fairness to you, I've never seen you even be witty once. I know you've been witty like 3 times. Where we lost in the Champions League final 2009, but what team did we defeat in the semi-final to get to that final? What team did we defeat in the Champions League semi-final of 2009? The first 5 people to answer that correctly will be put in a draw to win Football Town apparel. So get them in, guys. Get them in. No, Mark. No, bad Mark. It was 2011. No, Jamie. Why is everyone being wrong? Can people just be right, please? There we are. Jeff to the rescue.
There's a question from my little nephew in there.
Oh, where is it?
George, he said, what's our opinion on Luke Shaw?
That's a great question. George. Is it up a bit? I want to actually show it on the screen.
Yeah, where is it? It's
Is it after the 1-1 with Everton? Is it like
hold on. I just saw it. It's after Mark.
Mark got it.
Yeah.
Great question, Georgie. And what jersey is he wearing there? Is that an old United jersey or that is?
No, it is a United jersey. It's not an old one though. I think it's
relatively new.
Is it not just his own jersey for the team?
It's very small. Is it? I see.
I can't really see from there.
I don't think it's a United one.
George, would you mind putting into the comments what jersey you're wearing? Because it looks to me like the old black one from like the mid-90s, but I don't know how we get it. Maybe from his dad. But we'll go around the table. That's a great question. We'll go to everyone to get their points of view across. Mark, what are your thoughts on Luke Shaw?
A year ago, I'd written him off, and I shouldn't have, because since Tellers has come in, he's been wonderful. And I said this the other week, he's probably the second man to get a guaranteed start in the 11, only beyond Bruno. So I think he's brilliant. I think going forward, he's much better, very underrated. James Ridge and I have spoken about this many times. We've got some great stats for you, but I haven't gotten to him right now. Going forward, he's brilliant. Defensively, he's brilliant. And long may it continue. But yeah, really like him. And I'm pleasantly surprised that I was wrong last year.
Absolutely. It's always lovely when you're wrong, Mark. Hannah, we'll go to you now. What are your thoughts on Luke Shaw and his little turnaround that he's having?
Yeah, I think a few shows ago somebody talked about him coming back from that leg break and what it did for his mental, and I gotta give him credit for it. You know, that type of injury was it used to.
You are sorry.
No, I
think it was Mark.
Oh, Mark. Okay. Yeah, it really is a credit to his mental and how he got through that, because not only just coming back from it, but improving, right? I think we're seeing what everybody was expecting to see when we first bought him. And yes, people also say that Teller's coming in has pushed him, but I think it's also him fighting back from that. And I got to give him credit. Like, I agree with Mark that he's probably the second person on right now, and with people in form, he's one of the first people on the team sheet every week.
Hi. Oh, sorry. I was just saying hi to you, Ham. I hadn't seen I forgot to say hi to you earlier on.
Yeah.
Hi. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
Yeah. James, we're going to you now. What are your thoughts on Big Luke Shaw?
I think we're starting to see that if he'd been playing with Edison Cavani for the last 5 years, he'd probably broke all assist records that exist. I think if you get his deliveries that he's now showing with Cavani's prime ability, I think that would have been a nasty combination. But yeah, like Hammer said, you've got to give credit to his mental side. He's probably one of the strongest minded people in the Premier League. To come back from the leg break and then the treatment that he got from Mourinho, that just being publicly outcast from the squad and blamed for their downfall. I think to come back from that and go on to be arguably the league's best left back, got there in the end this season. It takes a lot of courage, and I think that the fact that he's only 25 goes over people's heads as well. He's still arguably not in the peak of his career, so we've got plenty more to come. Hopefully, providing he doesn't break the other leg or anything like that. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of his up until maybe the start of this season, but I'm he's very quickly changed my mind, and I'm happy to be a flip flop on that specific topic.
Can I just say something very
it.
quickly? If I can't say I've ever been in this position, but if you're told at work that you're doing a poor job in front of people, I can imagine that's an awful thing. But can you imagine being in the biggest club in the world, being told that to the media and everything? What an absolute shithouse! And he was able to come back from that. I mean, fair play to the geezer.
Yeah, completely agree. Jeff, your thoughts on Luke Shaw?
He's deceptively fast. I mean, you look at him, he's like this chunky, big built guy. But when he tracks back, I mean, you wouldn't think he ran that fast. So yeah, that's what I think. I mean, he's come back from the leg break. He's been very good going forward this season. He's improved defensively too. But for me, it's always been he's deceptively fast for someone like him. So yeah,
absolutely.
We
lost you. We lost you. Oh no! Well, that season's out, and we finally got to the hour, despite James's protesting. And George, because that was such a good question, I put you into the draw for the Football Town apparel as well. So thanks very much, and hopefully we'll see yourself and your brother back on future episodes with more fantastic questions. So thank you very much. So that's us for me and the guys. Make sure where are we now? We're Wednesday, and absolutely Gary. He does deserve a England call-up. He deserves to be starting left back. We will be back tomorrow. The match is tomorrow. I think Cardiff is doing the preview and everything. Or are you doing it, Mark? Do you know? I know Cardiff is having it.
I'm doing the review tomorrow night after the game.
You're doing the post-match reaction. Okay, cool. So Mark, you'll have Mark for the post-match reaction. You have Cardiff on Twitter, so make sure to find All For United on Twitter. Stay up to date with that, and make sure to join us for the post-match reaction, which Mark will be hosting. Then Friday, I believe Temi will be doing a preview. Women's Weekly will be back, and for Sunday we'll be back to analyze the Newcastle game along with all the other talking points in the game. And Stuart, you're backstage. You're not coming in. We've literally got a second left. So bye, Stuart. So that's from us. Thanks so much. Make sure to join us. Like the video, share it around, and be back. And yeah. Bye from the guys. Thanks very much.